Simon Peter, the fisherman who became a rock. Simon Peter was just a fisherman from Galilee, casting his nets into the sea when his life changed forever. One day, a man named Jesus walked by and called out to him and his brother Andrew, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Matthew 4:19. Something stirred in Peter's heart. Without hesitation, he left his nets behind and followed. For 3 years, Peter walked with Jesus. He saw miracles, blind eyes opened, the lame walking, thousands fed with just a few loaves and fish. He even walked on water himself, stepping out of the boat toward Jesus. But when doubt crept in, he began to sink. Yet Jesus was always there, pulling him up. Peter was bold, often speaking before thinking. When Jesus asked, "Who do you say I am?" Peter declared, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Matthew 16:16. Jesus called him the rock and said he would build his church upon him. But Peter also had moments of failure. On the night of Jesus' arrest, despite swearing he would die for him, Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times. When the rooster crowed, he wept bitterly. Yet, Jesus didn't leave Peter in his failure. After his resurrection, he restored him, asking 3 times, "Do you love me?" Each time Peter answered, "Yes, Lord." And Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." John 21:15-17. Peter became a fearless leader of the early church. He preached at Pentecost, where 3,000 people were saved in a single day. He performed miracles, stood before rulers without fear, and spread the gospel far and wide. In the end, Peter remained faithful to Jesus, even to death. Tradition says he was crucified upside down in Rome, refusing to die in the same manner as his Lord. Simon Peter was once just a fisherman, but Jesus made him a fisher of Salsa rock, upon which the church would stand. The night of denial. Simon Peter's struggle. The flickering torchlight cast long shadows across the high priest's courtyard. The air was heavy with whispers of betrayal and judgment. Simon Peter pulled his cloak tighter around himself, trying to blend into the crowd. His heart pounded. Just hours before, he had sworn to Jesus that he would never abandon him even if it meant death. Yet here he was, standing in the darkness, afraid. The first denial. A servant girl approached, her eyes squinting in the dim firelight. "You were with Jesus of Galilee," she said, pointing at Peter. Peter's stomach tightened. He felt the stares of those around him. His mind raced. If they knew he was one of Jesus' disciples, would they arrest him too? "I don't know what you're talking about," he muttered, stepping back. He turned quickly and moved toward the gateway, trying to disappear into the restless crowd. The second denial. Minutes passed, though they felt like hours. Another servant saw him and called out, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Panic surged through Peter. He shook his head, his voice stronger this time. "I don't know the man." A cold sweat broke across his forehead. He wanted to run, to escape the weight of his own words. But where could he go? Jesus was inside, standing trial. The third denial. Time dragged on. The murmurs of the people filled the night air. Then, a man turned to Peter, studying his face. "Surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away." Peter's throat tightened. His Galilean dialect had betrayed him. His fear boiled over into anger. He swore, "I don't know the man." At that moment, a rooster crowed. The sound shattered the night like a hammer striking stone. Peter froze. The words of Jesus came rushing back. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." Matthew 26-75. His breath caught in his throat. He turned toward the high priest's house, and through the flickering torches he saw Jesus. Their eyes met. Jesus wasn't angry. His face held sorrow, yet love still remained in his eyes. Peter's heart broke. He stumbled out of the courtyard, tears streaming down his face. The shame was unbearable. He had failed. He had denied his Lord, redemption and grace. For 3 days, Peter lived in the agony of his failure. But on the 3rd day, the news came Jesus had risen. When Peter ran to the empty tomb, hope sparked in his heart. Days later, by the Sea of Galilee, Jesus stood before him once again. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" 3 times Jesus asked. 3 times Peter answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." And 3 times Jesus restored him. "Feed my sheep." John 21:15-17. Peter had denied Jesus 3 times, But Jesus had given him 3 chances to declare his love. His failure was not the end of his story. Grace had the final word. From that day on, Peter was no longer afraid. He became a bold witness, proclaiming the risen Christ to the world. And though he had once denied his Lord, he would one day give his life for him, never denying him again.